No?
Are we on?
Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah, I think we are. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. Habari za asubuhi.
Hello, my name is Sissy Paul. I'm a podcaster from South Africa.
Hi, yo. My name is Michael Baruti. I'm a journalist from Tanzania.
Hi, everyone. Hey, good morning to everyone. Welcome to this masterclass of Cry Like a Boy.
Hello everyone, my name is Jolade Ajifolokun and I'm from Nigeria and also the host of the podcast Evolve with Jolade.
I host and produce a podcast called Men, the podcast, which is specifically about mental health for men.
My name is Laura Angela Bagneto and I am the host and editor of Africa Calling.
Hi guys, my name is Faith May and I am a Nigerian and a Nigerian podcaster as well.
The podcast is where we have conversations about the future of work. We go deep into different jobs, looking at how they have evolved.
I'm a voiceover talent audio producer, master of ceremonies, and the executive producer, I like that title, of Letters to Boys podcast.
I host a podcast show called The Journey, where we profile African millennials about life, their career journeys, and everything that makes them who they are.
Where I aim to inspire people to grow and also become better version of themselves.
So through this podcast, I hope to invite people to the place that I call home, that is Tanzania, and that is Africa, and through various topics that concern the land and most importantly, concerning the people.
And we're live. Good luck.
Good morning from Nairobi, everyone, and welcome to Africa Podcast Day.
My name is Melissa Mbugwa, and I'm a co-director of Africa Podfest.
Good morning, everyone from Düsseldorf, Germany. My name is Josephine Karenja, and I'm also a co-director of Africa Podfest. Happy Africa Podcast Day!
Woohoo!
nafasi nikueleze kiasi vile sisi hufanya pande hii ya the tracks. Hatuchezi na kazi, sipoteze wakati, tumekunja mashati. Jutuko wax musea, evacuate the area. Jutuko wax musea. Jutuko wax musea, evacuate the area. Jutuko wax musea. Jutuko wax musea.
What can we expect from today, Joe?
Today's theme is We Are Happy and Proud to be here. So definitely we are proud to be here, we are excited, and we cannot wait to launch into the day.
Africa Podcast Day is a day where we celebrate everything we love about African podcasting. This is everyone from the podcasters themselves to the podcasting content that they create to you, the listener of African podcasts.
The reason why we founded this company and this platform is because we recognize the opportunity that digital media, specifically audio, on a continent where radio is part of our daily lives, has to inspire, to open up the space for media freedom and for new communities that have been for so long sidelined in the media to make their voices heard and to see themselves and hear themselves, because the young generation in Africa is really hungry to hear and see themselves in a way that the media has typically not done in the past.
Africa Podcast Day started in 2020 when a group of committed African podcasters started off a day to celebrate African podcasting. We wanted to make sure everybody understood just how wide the selection of African podcasts is, and also how they could plug into the content that's being created for and by Africans around the world.
Welcome to the first session of Africa Podcast Day Unfiltered Real Talk with EJ.
Hello everyone, my name is EJ and I am the host of the Unfiltered Real Talk podcast. There is one particular episode that I truly found very empowering, and most of my conversation today with you will be around this episode. I hope you find it empowering as well.
I have to pack my hair up and I have to walk on the streets in school. And I'm walking on the road and someone like, what is that in your ear? What is wrong with you? You know, that kind of, I've had that kind of experience.
I found it very complex that you could look at someone's lips, only look at your lips, no sound from your mouth necessarily, and be able to say what the person is trying to communicate. So it's quite empowering to see what Anne's doing where she's at. And this is one of the reasons that I focused my presentation around my conversation with Anne, because I was deeply inspired. And I felt that is a conversation that I can bring here and hopefully inspire you all there who will listen in to be more, to go out there and do whatever it is that your heart desires. Maybe you are desiring to do something, to support something, but you're not sure, you're thinking about it, or whatever it is that is causing the delay. I feel like Anne's journey just goes to show that you can do anything at wherever it is that you are. All you need to do is just get started.
We are celebrating Africa Podcast Day today. Remember to share stories about your favorite African podcasts on social media using the hashtag Africa Podcast Day. Spread the word. Tell everyone about this day and about this conversation.
We're confident about this though because we know that there's such big demand for original, fresh, authentic storytelling. And so the audiences for podcasts are there and the talent among podcasters is there. So we are also investing in ways to level up, to support podcasters to level up their skills so that we can have a higher volume of very high quality podcasts. Then that just creates a virtuous cycle. The higher quality the podcast, the better podcasters are able to promote their work, the stronger the audiences become, and then you start to see a thriving business model taking shape.
Let us explore the pressures linked to being a man in Africa. On our original podcast series, Cry Like a Boy, we take a look at the stories of men in Africa who are challenging what it means to be a man in their societies.
So welcome to our presentation. So today we're going to introduce you our podcast and how to produce a collaborative documentary podcast in several languages. Collaborate with local journalists and choose them wisely. They are also, your eyes, your nose, your five senses, if I can say, in terms of transcription of their report.
So as you can imagine, I mean, we have also many obstacles coming from this mix of different languages, but we also get to produce very rich episodes. For example, you're going to listen now to an example in our podcast in one of the episodes of the result of this linguistic richness.
One of the best challenges that we have is to try to be uniform in our product, since we come from so many different cultures and from different countries at the same time. It would be hard to have the same quality throughout the series if we didn't prepare a lot in advance.
So we have people who have nice voices to help us. But of course, when you're an independent podcaster, it can be more difficult. So the advice would be aware of the number of people you need to dub over in advance, because this takes time and effort, even if you're working on in an environment with many people who, have that talent.
So once the podcast is launched, you don't have to relax. You have to make sure that you make it easy for your guests to get the podcast and share it.
Thanks everyone for following us. We have to keep on pass by the next conference, the next masterclass. Thank you for having us all.
Let us know right now, actually, in the comments on YouTube, what stood out for you? What's a question you still have that's lingering? Please let us know, and we'll compile them. And at the end, the very last session of today, we have a wind down session where we're going to be looking through the day and trying to answer some of your questions.
So Africa Podcast Day is really a spotlight. It's a space to celebrate and shout about what's going on with podcasting on the continent, and in this way then generate awareness and interest to gather a lot more people into the podcasting space, and then start to kind of generate the kind of conversation, relationships, thoughts, ideas that will end up becoming industry ideas and this economy that we're talking about. Next up, our third session for today is a really exciting podcast launch as well from the team at Radio Workshop.
So we are a podcasting company that develops high quality audio content. And along with our production, we also have a training leg. So the Radio Workshop is an initiative of CRF, and CRF is basically an organization that trains young people to be radio reporters. And it does this in partnership with 72 community radio stations across 6 countries in Africa.
There is one group that is largely credited with launching the dance challenge. They're called Phenomenals Dosemba, a dance crew from Luanda, Angola.
We was together eating and we started to listen Jerusalem.
And they started dancing and filming. The crew took a classic line dance they'd learned in South Africa and mixed it with an Angolan style that Adelson calls family dance. And the video went viral.
It was very encouraging to see and hear how, radio skills are indeed easy to learn, and how the groups really brought themselves and experiences as activists, some of them as writers and theatre performers into the project. And still continue to create very rich and personal stories.
For African podcasts, we know all the challenges, and we're kind of in this together, and hopefully we can keep pushing and really grow this industry so that we can be equal players in the global podcast industry.
Coming up next is a presentation from the RFI team who is behind Africa Calling podcast.
My name's Laura Angela Bagneto, and I am the host and editor of Africa Calling. I'm in snowy Paris right now, but we work very closely with the Hausa and Kiswahili service, and also with all our African correspondents throughout the continent. Basically, what we're doing here is trying to use all our resources at RFI. So we're Radio France International, and we have 17 language services. We understand there's a lot of challenges with electricity, with internet. And so we bring that on board, and we try to help journalists who have issues with that. And we understand, sometimes something can't be done. Sometimes you have it slotted and we just don't have a report this week because there was some unforeseen circumstances. So, but that's part of the game. That's part of doing the news. And, but that's about it.
The other way that we want the Spirit of Africa Podcast Day to continue throughout the year is for people to join the Africa Podcast database, to be able to be found in a space that celebrates African podcasters. We believe that this will be a huge jump-off point for a lot of podcasters who are part of Africa's content creators to see themselves and to grow in immense ways.
We have a year-long program of events for networking as well as learning events that we carry out in collaboration with our various partners such as Semabox and Baraza Lab, Podfest Cairo, Google Podcast Creator Program. So we have a lot in store already, and we've been carrying out events in the past for learning and for networking.
Africa Podfest has a lot to offer. We have been gathering together with our friends in other podcast hubs across Africa to create incredible communal spaces where we learn and we grow together. So we're going to continue meeting, we're going to continue gathering, because if anything, this whole difficult period has taught us is that we are stronger together.
My name is Kevin Mwachiro. I'm your host during this session, and the title of our topic is Whose Voice is Heard in Africa? We're joined by the people behind Until Everyone is Free. We are also joined by the Dandora Hip Hop City podcast. You've been podcasting for 2 years. What have you learned about podcasting that you'd want to share with people who are thinking about going into podcasting?
What I've learned on the podcasting journey and start is that it's a growing process. It's not that you start at already a big podcast and stuff. Just be willing to start small with what you have, but mostly I think it's more advisable if you focus with your community first.
I would say that I think the reason it's so powerful is really two things. One is just the writing itself, just the history itself speaks for itself. You don't need to do so much to it. You don't need to have, I don't know, like a lot of skills and chop it up and do fancy things to it. It's the history. And then the second thing is the language, the fact that it's in Sheng, and all of the texture that comes in Sheng.
So the reason I'm really excited about Africa Podfest is that it is doing the work of sort of critically looking at what already exists on the continent and some of the new things that people are doing, how to support them. I think it's really important to be thinking about radio and podcasting like from the continent and for the continent, and not trying to just model on what other people are doing in other countries. This is the team behind the podcast, Until Everyone is Free.
This is Stoneface, a host.
And I'm the producer, April Ju.
And maybe to add, like right now in Madari, we don't have any kind of a podcast place where we can make podcasters. It's so much expensive to make podcasts, yeah? So people look at so much expensive in our area, like, oh man, it will require a lot of resources. It'll have this and this. So that's the challenges we're facing also sometimes for the podcasters. But the journey is, whenever you give out something strong or maybe something powerful, impactful, the supportive channel will just arise. You never know, yeah.
I feel like Africa Podfest is one of those channels.
The channels. So the most important thing is to start.
Yeah.
Start, let it go.
We also carry out original research that, just puts you in a better position to make informed decisions about the direction to take to grow your podcast.
We always make this research publicly available on our website, www.africapodcastfestival.com. But our journey as researchers in podcasting started all the way in 2017 when Melissa released the first Kenyan survey on podcasting. So the two slides that you see are a representative of some of the listeners to African podcasts that we've had a chance to experience. The choice of city and country doesn't mean that people are only listening in those cities and those countries, but this is a huge number of the people who are very vocal and participant in social media and in terms of community around podcasting. So, introducing Anna. Anna is 31. She lives in Nairobi. She's into personal development / self-help topics. And she also listens to 2 to 4 hours a week in the mornings while doing housework or chores. On the other side, we have Axel, who is 23 years old and he lives in Lagos. He is still exploring across a couple of different topics, for example, business and entrepreneurship, culture and the arts, and also entertainment. He listens intently for less than 2 hours a week while chilling and doing nothing else. And his go-to platform is Anchor, where he downloads podcasts using mobile data. So Africa Podcast Day has been coordinated, at least from the Africa Podfest side, by a remote team without taking a single flight.
Bringing this day together took a lot of creativity, a lot of thinking differently, because the team is in different parts of, the team is comprised of Africans who are all over the world on different continents. So we have part of the team based in Kenya. We also have Zambia, we have South Africa, we have the US and Germany. So we have a remote team working on a virtual gathering in a time of a pandemic. It's just all been very interesting and has taken a lot of creativity and doing things differently.
This was an exciting moment because we didn't know whether asking nicely and asking people to participate ahead of the day would work out. But African podcasters are extremely generous with their time and with their space. And so far, people have been so willing to share what they know and what they are producing with the world. We had many meetings, many calls, and very remotely, we had a space where we could talk about what we wanted to see in a gathering that's being created amid a pandemic.
My name is Tevin Sudi. I am the technical producer and technical director for the Africa Podcast Day. I deal with the speakers, I deal with the participants, the attendees, streaming to YouTube, Hopin, StreamYard, Facebook, any other platforms. The challenges we faced, I would say there were very many along the way, especially leading up to the day, because we had to figure out how do we stream to different platforms at the same time? How do we include different speakers from all over the world in the same space? How do we connect the simple things like connecting the audio into the streaming platform, connecting multiple camera angles into the streaming platform, but with concurrent rehearsals that we've been able to do leading up to the Africa Podcast Day, we were able to streamline all of those issues, and now I believe the stream is going on smoothly. I am extremely proud about what we've accomplished so far.
My name's Hayley Newton and I'm a trainer for Hindenburg Systems. I'll be giving a live demonstration of this and also with the other formats of podcasting throughout this session. So you'll just have to bear with me. Here we have the Hindenburg digital audio workstation. So for those who aren't familiar with it, this is what the workstation looks like. If you're keen on buying a product from us, feel free to visit our website and buy away.
Hi, everyone. So yeah, I'm Darshan, and thank you so much for joining me for this session. I mean, so as you know, I'm a producer at Radio Workshop. Mike, thank you for joining me for this. There are audio spikes in recordings that we call clipping. And when you record your audio, often on the screen of your recording device, you'll see a little waveform. And most of the time that will show you your volume levels of your audio. And clipping is when the audio hits so high that the waveform spikes actually touch the top of your recording window. And that causes these nasty sound glitches in audio. And nobody wants these, especially not Mike. He'll complain a lot.
Mm-hmm. I'd really encourage everyone to kind of look at people who with adjacent skills. So for us, for instance, we're working with a lot of sort of beat producers and hip hop musicians and jazz musicians who not only help to make music for our podcast, but who also can help us to edit audio and really kind of get be upskilled essentially to become podcast audio editors.
Hi, my name is Dan Aseda. I'm the co-founder of Semabox. Semabox is the first specialist podcasting studio in East and Central Africa, and we're also a podcast incubator. Yeah, so most of the podcasting world right now exists in what they call the global north. And I think there needs to be a lot of work to be done to help to amplify the work of podcasters in the global south, specifically those in Africa. I think that's why the work of Africa Podfest is so important, and we're happy to be partners with them in this work, and hopefully we can keep amplifying the work of podcasters that are working here and keep adding them and helping them to tell the stories from this part of the world. And so they invited us to support it by means of infrastructure and also by hosting it at Semabox here. So it's been a great pleasure for us to provide the technical support for the work. We're very happy to see the diverse community and committee members that Africa Podfest has pulled together. We're very, very proud of the work, and we're looking forward to the next event where we'll do maybe the same thing together. Again, the goal is just to keep building this community so that at the end of the day, we can have more podcasters who are doing work at a higher level of skill and doing even more quantity.
My name is Tarik. I'm from Angola, and my podcast is called Clube da Misha. I'm in Angola capital city, which is Luanda, and we talk to pretty much all the country. We get people from other parts of the country as well. We interview people away from Angola remotely as well. So it's very much that. We have a website, and we everywhere pretty much. So we chose to do it in Portuguese just to make sure that we can assist our people and interact with our local audience before thinking about reaching new goals or new audiences out of Angola.
Here in Africa, Portuguese speakers we are few, and we have 5 countries who are speaking Portuguese, and podcast here in Angola is a new thing for us.
Eu e o Helder decidimos começar a piada há 2 anos, começámos há 4 meses e pronto. Espero que estejam todos em casa a ouvir, seguros. E Vicente, muito obrigado pelo convite.
Que vocês estão a sérios do vosso. According to number, per episode we can have almost 90 to 100 people who listens to our podcast. We are challenging ourselves. When we invite people, we tell them to use our platform to tell their story. This is the reason I'm proud to be here, because we are presenting our own story. Doesn't matter the barriers of language, but we do share our own story. We no longer have people to come here in Africa and telling us, no guys, let me share your story. But now we are sharing our own story.
Our final community event is by a comedian from South Africa, Samia, who is the host of a podcast called Lesser Known Somebodies. This is the best Friday afternoon plan, actually.
What up?
Samia, what up, boy?
I'm good, bro.
Samia joins us in studio. He knows more than you can imagine.
Welcome to Africa's 8th Best Podcast with me, Samia. Today, we are doing a live rendition of the podcast.
If you look someone straight, it's very aggressive, but also it looks like an ID photo. And no one looks good as an ID photo.
This dude sounds like he could have been like in a ring in WWE and like chirping one of his opponents.
That's Simi. My wife says Waverlin is cute. Please
Is she single? Is your wife single? She's looking for it.
So, everybody meets me in America. They hear my accent. They don't consider me American. But I'm an American citizen. I did stuff for the government.
I did stuff for the government. Hilarious. When we make podcasts, sometimes we make them with this very serious intention. And sometimes, a little bit of irreverent humor or something entertaining goes so much further.
My name is Maurice Otieno. I'm an executive director at Baraza Media Lab. We like to encourage and actually beseech more investors, more organizations that are looking to support independent media through podcasting to come on board, partner, and work with Africa Podfest to be able to build this community. As we see globally, the media industry is going through a very difficult change in terms of their revenue models. And it's upon us to support new initiatives and new business models like podcasting to be able to grow.
Yes, investors, open your checkbooks. Invest in African content creators, especially podcasters. Discover them partially on their own social media platforms, partially through common podcasting platforms. So come for the initial content, stay for the life-changing experience of discovering Africa in a new way.